Hello everybody, and there it is. We have remade the game. Everybody is in it at their defined positions, and of course Denial is up here on the Dire's side. Quickly, we will talk about who is playing who, because since it was an all-pick game, it's actually less time before the creeps spawn than normal. So we're going to have Exiled playing the Visage actually instead of the Nyx Assassin, which he usually does. Looks like we have Smurf as the Phantom Lancer. Defect going to be this Nyx Assassin now. Cede going to be the Mirana, and going mid as the Invoker is DK with some of the nicest Invoker items I have ever seen. Mito, would you like to take TCN?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, right off the bat, we have Frieza playing as a support Shadow Shaman, and we have Dizu playing as a support Bane following closely behind. And down at the top tier 1, tier 3 tower, we have Supri playing as an offlane Clockwork. Or is it going to be a trial? Oh, wow, that's so smart. They're already camping, ready to get the first blood in the offlane. And as a mid solo, we have Sony playing as OD, getting heavily pulled. And down at the base, we have Lion playing as the Weaver. And I think he Sukuchi'd in early to get the Observer Ward Plant. So that was really smart of him.
The Sentry Ward, you mean, which is now gone?
Oh yeah.
Taken out, and
instantly
I mean, Denial Smurf, they might still actually have a chance to get out of here. They do have a Sentry available, but he hasn't. Now he has actually skilled up that Spirit Lance, and now he's in a bit of trouble. There it is, the Battery Assault, and Smurf taking a huge amount of damage, and that will be the first blood right there. As that's happening, it looks like you have Effect going into the mid scene if he can't help out, just with a little mana burn, doing a bit there, but not going to be quite enough. And as far as this bot lane is concerned, I mean, I gotta give it to Weaver. Just the constant Shikuchis and Geminate attacks hitting Mirana. I mean, you're both made of paper, but Weaver's gonna have a better time. And once again, it looks like Smurf in a heap of trouble, having to actually tango up, and it looks like Shadow Shaman getting a couple pot shots in there, not able to finish the job, but still incredibly low, and have already died once. You do not want to die 2 times in about 10 seconds.
Wow, so now they're off to a pretty rough start, especially for Smurf. Getting picked off and then just like using up most of his regens, and just having these two supports sit on him, man. At the same time, it feels like Defect, he's just going to be staying at mid and putting pressure on the OD. So I guess it's a form of trade-off that OD is going to be having a rough time at the same time that PO will also struggle at top. Yeah, so in a sense that the two heroes who are kind of fated to match up into the late game stage are both struggling.
Oh yeah, and I mean, personally, I love these laning decisions out of TCN. Usually you think of Clockwork as your solo off lane, as just a solo lane in general, and you know, you want to get him those levels and make sure that he lives, and overall, I mean, he does quite well in an off lane scenario, but just pairing him with these two very strong, very disabling supports, I mean, it's pretty damn strong when everything is said and done, and it's like, PL, what can you really do for that? And I mean, you don't even really need them bot when you have a Weaver against a Mirana. You're going to be doing okay yourself there.
Yep, and at the same time, Invoker isn't a hero that's, it doesn't really care about OD all that much. Just get a Magic Stick and then have a couple of Forge Spirits up and running. Then OD will be the one that starts struggling, because as high armor as OD has, he just can't. He can't tank the harassment that Invoker has to offer. Oh
yeah, now it looks like they're trying to make something happen, but no stuns coming out. Exiled always does have that Soul Assumption to look forward to if they ever do get an engagement going, but yeah, like you said, it just seems like DK versus versus Sony Zor mid. DK's actually doing quite nicely for himself despite the amount of Astrals on him. And even though you don't have Defect there helping him out anymore, I mean, the damage has been done. Sony Zor, he's finally got a bottle coming to him, and that's going to at least put things a little bit better in favor of him. But DK, I mean, still holding his own, has Cold Snap and Forge Spirits always available, and if he happens to find a Sunstrike, Ceylan instead has salved up, so that's not going to be a kill bot.
Yep, now that Defect has rotated back up to top, things are becoming much easier for Smurf. He's starting to get some last hits. Sure, he's still quite behind, like 4 minutes into the game, with only 8 last hits and 1 deny. So yeah, rough start, and with these two supports around, he should be able to slowly pick up.
Oh yeah, I mean, I suspect so, and they really do need to make sure that Defect is here to give him the support that he needs, because, I mean, if you look at the lineup of Denial, yeah, Mirana's pretty good, and Invoker can carry in his own way, but nothing's gonna be going as late of a game as Phantom Lancer, and they really do need him to pretty much not just succumb to the early push and early strength of TCN. Like, if they get Serpent Wards and really go for it, now looks like Sonizor has baited out this, and it's just a beautiful little wraparound. DK pretty much guaranteed to die here as well, and will indeed fall to Freezer's Ether Shock. So I mean, nothing they could do, and Sonizor playing it really close to the chin, being really close there, and just baiting out that cold snap, baiting out those abilities.
Well, right now, TCN, they're just winning all 3 lanes. Mirana, with such a low base attack, is completely losing out to the Weaver. Weaver already has 24 last hits and 9 denies, whereas the Mirana have around half of what the Weaver has. And the tri-lane, look at the levels on the supports. Zizo is already level 4, and Frieza is level 3.5, almost level 4 as well. Yeah, they're getting so much out of these rotations and out of the laning choices.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Sonizor, this is one of those times where you see that PL has been left alone up top, so you need to know that these two supports have rotated
Smurf's
in the
in
mid.
trouble again.
Oh yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw that shackle underneath the tower, all you need to think is like, okay, 1 brain sap, and this guy is gone. And that's exactly what happened. Now they're trying to make something happen on Sonizor, but of course, just being pretty smart about it, hanging as far back around the tower as possible, and hanging as far bottom right as humanly possible as well. And now seeing that those rotated supports are on their way kind of clears things up for him. He can go and get this invisibility. He's just waiting to get his bottle now, and with that, I mean, that's going to be pretty terrifying for DK to go up against. It gets an easy Astral as well. Going to be basically bottling back up to almost full except for mana, but I mean, gets an Invis Rune for his troubles as well.
Yeah, and they also don't have any answer to Weaver. I mean, if you want to gank him with Nyx Assassin and Visage, it pretty much relies on the Nyx Assassin being able to land a stun. And that's not really going to happen unless he gets an Invis Rune. So yeah, they don't have any choice but to stay top and protect the Phantom Lancer. They can't even jungle the supports. Yeah,
oh yeah, not at all. And yeah, like you're saying, it just seems like TCN getting much more out of this map right now. You have Lion on the bot as the Weaver. I mean, he's just completely and utterly decimating Ceylan as far as last hits are concerned. And Ceylan actually opting and having to run home, just a little bit too scared of the Weaver, who's, I mean, he's level 8. He's pretty terrifying already. Ceylan only level 6 right now.
Yeah, especially the Weaver. He went for a bottle. Just those quick regen and the mana regen allows him to constantly aggro the Mirana even more.
Oh yeah, now Mirana ult being used and a TP coming in. Not too sure if it was seen. Arrow flies. Is it going to land at a pretty nice spot? But Freezer does indeed see it in time. And I mean, because of that, no kill is going to be happening up top here, really. You always do have Supri available. Has not quite hit level 6 to try and make this stuff happen yet. And Exiled is hiding in the trees. Freezer, he doesn't know he's right there, but he is just so close. He can smell him at the moment. And really, we'll just see how this turns out. It now looks like Supri as well as Zisu trying to set something up. But Exiled was there the whole time. Smurf, though, melting incredibly quickly. Doesn't even get his lance off, it looks like. And now the rest of Team Denial throwing in. Arrow whiffs entirely. Exiled now in a heap of trouble. Ceylan needs to get out of here as well. Gets turned into a chicken. Can he get the leap? Nice stun on 2 out of Defect to try and guarantee it. But the hook shot to follow up on Ceylan. And now pushing him back into the rest of Team TCN. Just some beautiful plays coming out of these folks.
Yeah, this is why I was a little worried during the drafting stage. They have no reliable lockdown, and they are playing on a much higher ping. So they will struggle to be able to get those lockdowns and get those kills. I mean, if you look at that Mirana arrow earlier, that completely just whiffed. It pretty much went in the wrong direction. And I believe that wasn't what he wanted, nor was it what he was trying to achieve. But Yeah, it's not an easy lineup to play.
No, no, and like you mentioned, this server is indeed in Luxembourg, and for everybody who knows Denial, they know they're not in Luxembourg. They're over in North America, making this all that much harder for them, and especially against, once you do match up against a team as strong as TCN, that ping is, I mean, it's only gonna hurt you. And now while that's happening, Freezer looks like he is pretty much doomed to fail. Does get a nice ward trap on Exiled. Might be able to actually get a kill for his troubles, and does indeed get it. And now with that is still actually just hurting DK as well. Gonna give a little bit of extra gold to Smurf, but I mean, 3-on-1 and still trades. Has to use his ult, but it's not the end of the world really. Only 110-second cooldown at the moment. Not the end of the world by any means. I mean, really, just some nice play as well.
Yeah. Wow, getting ganked like that and then like getting one in return, it's always worth it. Other than just simply not dying. But I mean, using one hero to hold like spend so much time from 3 different heroes, it just goes to show how far ahead they are. I mean, just having even a support hero already reaching level 6 so fast.
Oh yeah, and now it looks like DK, he's actually gotten some points into Tornado, only getting 1 in Exhort of all things. So it looks like we are going to be seeing a Quas Wex Invoker, maybe to stop those pushes, make them a little bit harder to do overall. Ceylan, no arrow to throw at the moment to try and make this happen. And now Mirana ult has been used. Looks like we have a sentry going down as well. DK just out of range of that at the moment. Supri, could we see a blind hook shot? Would love to see one, but it doesn't quite happen. Arrow flies, nobody is chasing at the moment. So looks like both teams just going to head out, but while that is happening, I mean, you have both carries on each side farming up. Lion, though, doing quite a bit better at the moment than Smurf. And Smurf's died a few times, even.
Yep. So the question is, how is Denial Esports going to be able to buy time for Smurf to farm up? And I love this choice from the Invoker, just going for the Quas Wex, realizing that, hey, we need to be able to hold them down. And what's better than Tornado and EMP? And if he gets an Aghanim, I mean, if he gets a Refresher Orb directly afterwards, he can potentially burn 1100 mana. And that would... it would pretty much stall all the pushing abilities coming out of TCN.
Oh yeah, and I think if anything, DK, this Quas Wex build is probably in response to seeing just how strong the push is going to be coming out of TCN right now, and realizing, you know what, whenever they have Serpent Wards up, it's going to be a tower, they're going to be knocking on our door pretty shortly, and what can I do to buy time for my PL? And really Quas Wex is the answer. But I mean, oh, it might be even a little bit difficult. They throws out a blind hook, but doesn't happen to find a PL. Smurf indeed went north instead of east. Still have Exiled, and now he needs to TP out of here. Will be able to do that indeed, and with hookshot already being used, he's gonna get out of there at least scot-free, so not too bad.
Yeah, Smurf is so close to his Midas though, just about 100 gold off. And once he gets that Midas, and then follow up with, say, a Vladimir's offering, then he has a lot more options. He can go aggressive jungling, because I mean, TCN they try, so your own jungle most likely won't be very safe, and if you rotate to the opponent's jungle, it might even suit your needs better. You might even find more space to farm up. But this will have to happen after, say, perhaps a couple of tower kills.
And now PL, he has picked up that Midas of his. Defect, I mean, he really does need to get 6 so he can start to try and put a little bit of pressure on, say, Shadow Shaman, Vendetta him, stun him, get a little bit of mana burn, and really start the fights that way. Maybe even, you know, take somebody out from the fights before they even begin. That's really what you want. So, I mean, Defect, he's got to be starting to get a little bit of experience. And now throwing an arrow, is it going to land? Actually goes in between all of them. These arrows just not on the mark this time around. Ceylan looks like he wants to keep fighting this. Needs to be careful, though. Serpent Wards always available, and as we saw last time, he is all over trapping those ones. Now DK getting Fiend's Grip. Don't see how he's getting out of this one. Mirana ult has been used, but Shikuchi being used just to try and guarantee that enough magic damage is piled on, and with that gets a free kill bot against this Invoker. So I mean, nothing going the way of Denial and everything going in favor of TCN right now.
Yeah, well, Smurf, in the meantime, he is finding some space. I mean, Freezer, without any kind of detection, won't be able to pick him off one-on-one. Yeah, I mean, it's only Observer Walls that's coming over for Freezer right now. And in that case, Smurf, he's just gonna continue and try and rise up for his team. And I mean, I just love the synergy between Nyx Assassin and any of the hard late game, ultra late game carries. Because not only does Nyx Assassin do really well during the laning phase, with helping out your carry finding space, at the same time, like rotating into mid late game, you can always use the Nyx Assassin to babysit him. Just have Nyx Assassin roaming around the jungles while your main carries on the lane to scout if anyone's coming for a gank. And I mean, a lot of times, Nyx Assassin is just sacrificial bait. I mean, I've seen Synderen do it many times, using Nyx as a bait.
And of course, that's okay. And now it looks like Sonizor, he is invis, and he has found a defect if he ever wants to make something happen. They do have a Clockwork ult available if they ever want to engage, but looks like they're just trying to babysit Smurf as much as humanly possible, and they really need to. He's already died a couple times. Not too sure how many exactly, but quite a few.
Yeah, but Lion is just having a great time with almost 100 last hits in 15 minutes, and yeah, he's pretty close to his Lincolns as well, if that's what he's going for. And I love what they're doing as well, just constantly putting pressure on towers, forcing some players to come over from denial, and just taking away the space they have to sit back and farm.
Oh yeah, and TCN, this is something that we've seen them do a whole bunch of times.
Engagement.
It's like we do have an engagement. Supri with absolutely no mana left now, getting double mana boots, and that's enough for Cogs. That's enough for the full combo right there. And indeed, but it looks like he just melts so quickly. Freezer does throw down his ult, so far you have a Clockwork for a Visage and Defect. Don't see how he's getting out of this one. Mirana ult, not going to be enough. Maybe if it was used a little bit sooner, but it, of course, was not. And DK now has to run for his very life, and he will be able to get out of there. But, I mean, Lion getting damn close to that Lincoln's if he ever wants it.
Once again, Nyx the sacrificial bait. Well, not bait, but I mean, he was sacrificed. And I love how he purposely ran downwards for to buy a little more time for his teammates. But yeah, TCN, they're just going to keep up the pressure, and I love what they're doing. Just getting more and more map control with each tower kill, and just taking away the space that Denial has to farm. I mean, right now, they're already being shortened down to about this much.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it looks like TCN, not only have they done their homework, but this is also how they've been playing this entire tournament, is just coming out with an early lead, getting some good towers, getting some map control, and then from there, they just keep up the pressure. Zissou now actually does fall. Nice arrow onto Lion, but he just finished off that Lincoln's just in time, and a big Sanity's Eclipse to finish off that defect there. And now it just looks like the rest of Denial running for their very lives. Lion, this is exactly what you want to see as a Weaver. Can you pick up Smurf? Not quite because of that magic wand. And Exiled staying a little bit too long, giving another kill to Lion, it seems. And while that's all happening, Clockwork actually finding a kill of his own against Invoker.
Wow. But yeah.
Yeah, TCN, just
I love
keeping up the pressure, just ridiculously, not wanting to give PL any space at all.
Yep, they're constantly forcing out engagements with just by pressuring towers. And now OD has the mech and 2100 gold on top, so we might be seeing a Hex soon or even a 4-staff, depending on what he feels like going for. Yeah, but he's got plenty of options.
Now it looks like Sonizor may be overstaying his welcome in the mid, and indeed did. Lion now is here, however. Freezer making sure he gets all his spells off before all his mana is gone. Ward Trap and DK very nicely. The cogs are down. Lion finally revealed. Does have time lapse available. Looks like it isn't quite used. There it is indeed. Defect trying to get out of here. Does get out of here despite the hobble. But Lion and Zissou trying their very best to even things up. You get a 3 for 2, not a terrible trade by any means, and your carry Weaver continuing to live through everything and get kills as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, the PO didn't die as well. So the PO is starting to rise his way up. Already has the Vlads as well as Midas and another 1100 gold on top. So we'll be seeing that Yasha soon as well.
Oh yeah, but I mean, still, PL has quite a ways to go, I feel, before he can contribute wholeheartedly to these team fights, whereas Lion, he's got his Lincolns, he's got 2,500 gold on top of that, 26 now, and I mean he can just be in every team fight he wants, and that's okay for him. I mean he's making a lot of work happen for them as well.
And TCN are just feeling so confident. There's already a gem on the Bane Elemental, so they're looking to take away any kind of warding from Denial, and hence like shrinking Denial's map control.
And now Defect, he might have to use his Vendetta to get out of this. Arrow does fly, and that's going to be enough of a deterrent to stop Lion in his tracks. But yeah, Zissou has picked up that gem like you said. That was about 3 minutes ago or so, and they just continue to try and limit the map control that Denial has, limit the space they have to farm up, and just basically trying to squeeze PL until he can't get any farm.
Oh, Korea snipe. Yeah, but I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen Denial being forced into a corner and coming back from it. Just from like earlier, that was our quarterfinals or semifinals, right? That was, I mean, that was an hour-long game, and Denial, they were behind by quite a bit. But
Yeah,
will they be able to handle this heavy pushing coming out of TCN? These like serpent wards.
I was gonna say they've been
going to
behind.
town.
I don't know if they've had this much pressure put on them before though. EMP doesn't do anything but a nice arrow onto Sonizor. If now's the time to go, this might be it. Defect though, so close. One last hit, but the spike carapace enough to stun 2 and live through it all. Astral now being used as well. Sandy's Eclipse onto Ceylan, not going to be enough to finish him off. Supri though is here, exiled though once again. Big arrow always landing now. Finally, when they need them to. Doesn't matter though, Lincoln's is put on them to make sure. And with that, it looks like the push just will continue. And I mean, I didn't even mention that OD has picked up a Hand of Midas of his own just to make sure he can go late game and really contest that PL. And I mean, why not?
Wow.
Tornado lands on 2. Defect is here. Gets a nice stun on 2, however. Supri finally does melt EMP to really interrupt what's going on with everybody. Sonizor running for his life. Still has Force Staff available. Looks like Smurf has indeed been put to sleep. Zissou now running for his life. Double buybacks out of both Clock and the Shadow Shaman. Zissou trying to stall as much as humanly possible. Smurf so close to dying. It looks like these familiars did indeed eat that clockwork chain. Does not matter. And now they are chasing down DK. He is not quite invis. Looks like the tiny little swarm finally has died, and not too sure what DK can do here, and will fall actually to clockwork, trying to make sure Lion doesn't get that kill. So the pressure continues. Sonizor had just used that mechanism, some buybacks coming out, now Invoker has bought back. Obviously needs to be here for that EMP, probably a tornado going to be used down as well, and really just needs to be here. Familiar falls, unfortunately, for Exiled right now, and just looks like the push continues.
Yeah, and we totally forgot to mention that OD is great against familiar birds as well.
Oh
He
yeah,
just kills him in like 1-2 hits.
Exile just melting those Supri with some nice hooking and cogging and what have you. But it just looks like there's almost nothing that Denial can really do right now. The PL can't join the fight, not at all as strongly as Lion can, and I mean, that is just pretty telling right there. Smurf, he's trying his very best to be of aid, but look how little space he has to farm. There's zero space right now on the map for PL to do anything. They do get the deny on the barracks, but I mean, you never really want to deny your own barracks.
Well, they don't really have a choice, but I mean, the past fight and like the re-engagements, I mean, it's been such a long fight. We don't even have time to look at the goal graph and the XP graph. And wow.
I mean, we do now.
It's astonishing.
Let's take a gander. Oh, TCN, almost up to 20,000 difference in gold experience. Not as drastic as I would have thought, up to 7,500. But I mean, you now have Lion. He's picked up his Desolator. He's got a Lincoln's. This is some pretty damn early items for a Weaver at 23 minutes. This is exactly what you want to see happening if you are a Lion. And I mean, now with the middle racks down and the fact that just TCN has so much good teamfight abilities, there's no way Denial could have ever stopped that Roche as well.
Wow, just such a dominant performance by TCN so far. I feel like earlier when they played against
You can do it.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said?
No, it just cut out. Were you saying something? Oh no, it sounds like Mito might be having some technical difficulties. Mito, were you just talking then?
Yeah, I was. Wait. Let me see what's the problem. I think my mic might have disconnected.
Alright.
Just give me 1 second.
Well, go ahead. I'll give the play-by-play. Nice hook in by Supri there. Ceylan barely able to get out of there. DK getting hit by those cogs, and now it looks like Sonizor trying his very best to Arcane Orb everybody down. Smurf melting just immediately. Can't quite get out of there in time. 3 dead already. This might be the GG very shortly, and yes, indeedy, it is. So sad that Mito's mic is having some technical difficulties, but there's the GG, and that's going to be 1 in favor of TCN going into this Game 2 of the ESPL Weekly Series number 3. So stay tuned, everybody. The delay between games of the finals is only a fraction, just a minute fraction as long as in between the quarters, the semis, what have you. And Mito, do you happen to be there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, earlier when we saw TCN play against the Bubble Blowers, it just felt like they really didn't click all that well as a team. It feels like it was 5 players playing the individual game, but this game they really brought the A game, and yeah, they just kept it up, they kept their momentum, and they took the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so thank you everybody for tuning in. Of course, I am Briefcase. Along me is Mito, and we'll get you into the next game very, very shortly.